I promise you, this will be the only Christmas 2025 trends video you'll need to watch. If someone asks me what's the one word that you would use to describe market, you like it, Sarah? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna show you how to clump balls, hang ornaments from the ceiling, put candles in your tree, and what color of tree is trending. I have one question. What is the big pull towards pink? As a professional interior designer for 35 years, I've done so many Christmases. I've been on YouTube for 16 years, and what have I done every year? I've brought you a brand new theme for Christmas each year. If anyone knows how to do Christmas, it's me. In fact, sometimes I'm called Mrs. Christmas. I'm going to show you ways you can incorporate some of these trends into the things you already own. I've spent over 100 hours, 6 days at Dallas Market, going through showrooms so that I could bring to you everything you're going to see in this video. I want to tell you what my favorite takeaways were from Market this year. I guess my favorite thing, I loved the idea of the floating balls, meaning instead of hanging from the tree limbs themselves, they were hanging off a piece of leather or string or a piece of beautiful ribbon. Even things like icicles. Now, I did this last year in my sunroom. I had floating icicles, but I thought it was cool to see it now at Market. It wasn't something I saw last year. What a cool display where you take the glass balls and they hang from nylon thread and they're just suspended. This could actually be a year-round look, but especially at Christmas time, just having balls like this floating. In fact, I think this would look amazing in a window, something to consider. Again, you can see all kinds of different colors and stuff, but just the fact that they are on, I'm saying this is probably nylon thread, whatever is going to just disappear in order to get that look. Another one of the things that really stood out to me this year and I loved was the use of candles in trees. Now, we think of candles for Christmas time all the time, don't we? And I actually have used candles in my tree, but these are actually individual candles. And then you also see the balls that have candles in them. Something like that, I think, just looks really organic and beautiful, and it can go with really any theme. They used lanterns in the tree that were floating. They were hung not from the tree, but from the ceiling, but they land so close to the tree, they look like they're just nestled in there. The next thing I found really beautiful this year, and something I had not seen Market do, although I have done the clumping of balls, but this year I found that some of the designers were clumping balls by color, and it really created a beautiful architectural effect. And look how cool this is. They used huge balls around the base of the tree to create almost a tree skirt effect. Really a nice look. My favorite thing that I saw at Market done more this year than I have in the past is what I call the quiet elegance look. So the color schemes, they used beautiful velvets and tapestries and brocade fabrics mixed in with velvet ribbons and beautiful flowers. It just gave such a beautiful look. This tree here, it has more of the pastel colors, but when I say quiet elegance, maybe not so quiet here, but a much more elegant look for what we call glam, or have in the past the use of these pearls and the rhinestones and the garlands just looked beautiful. There's another candle for you. I mean, it was really a big look at Market this year. And of course, I would call this maybe more of a Ralph Lauren look, but if you ask me, that is subtle, quiet elegance. It's luxury at its max. If you're into the winter wonderland look, and listen, when I say that, you guys know last year my theme was a dreamy white Christmas, and it was all like this, but this icy look with the garlands of beads and the clear hanging ball crystals, I think that really creates a very modern, quiet elegance look. And finally, for this category, even things like the figurines, like the reindeer here, and the use of the different metallics that were brought together, but then this beautiful green bough here, kind of a garland, gives it what I would call a high-end luxury woodland look. I want to cover colors that I saw on color combinations, because I think it's an important thing to think about. And I want you to know that there are ways that you can incorporate some of these color combinations by using what you already have and just adding a little bit of something. And we'll talk about that throughout the video and when I do my curation video, how I put together my theme. I'm going to start this whole category of colors at market this year by introducing you to a friend of mine.
Hey guys, Christian Andrew.
Christian, look at your Santa shirt. So you work here for this manufacturer, and you were telling me what the trends are for Christmas 2025.
So we're seeing that pink will continue to be a hot trend for 2025. A lot of bright colors. In past years, we went a little bit too pastel, so we're seeing that colors are punching up a little bit. And the #1 color for the world, not just for the U.S., is blue.
Blue.
Yeah.
Woohoo! All right, you look awesome. It's good to see you again.
It's great to see you.
Thank you so much.
So what Christian described is that pink is showing up again this year, and he's right. I can tell you, I saw a lot of pink at market. Why pink is so popular, I do not know, but it continues to be. I kind of like the millennial pink, but the pink that they're showing now might be your taste. And if it is, go for it. I'm happy for you. I'm just going to tell you guys, my viewers, I am not a fan of the pink or of the candy look. It almost looks like Easter colors to me. And I know there are a lot of people who do that, and it makes sense. And if that's what you love, I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm not telling you that it's a bad thing at all. I'm just telling you what I think and how I decorate, and you know, because you've seen my Christmas videos, I think that there's something to be said about picking a color scheme and running it through your entire home. And we will talk about that when we go to the video that I have coming out here soon on the top mistakes I see people make in their home at Christmas time. So let's take a quick look at what he was talking about. I was surprised to know that blue was so popular around the world. And these are different ways that we saw blue this year. It's kind of got a royal blue in it, and they've put it together with almost a deep, rich plum and golds. You'll also see the blues go into the aqua look. Now these are the kind of florals that I think of what I've seen year after year, and they're poinsettias. That is not my favorite look, but it continues to be on trend apparently. I'm looking for more of that natural look of the flowers. But if you're into the aqua look, here you got it. Here we see chinoiserie mixed and paired with royal blue. They did it a lot with the ribbons, but look to the right of that, you actually see a blue tree. And then of course they've added gold as their accent color. This, in my opinion, is the look of blue that I would go with. It's more of a grayed out French blue paired with gold, but it's done in a more classy version. Look at the different shades. It covers pretty much everything, including this French blue and the brocade and velvet, as well as true blue, royal blue, almost a periwinkle blue, and they've paired it with golds.
You like it, Sarah?
Oh my gosh, it was just last year, right?
Yeah.
Last year, Sarah and I did sort of a garland look that went down the center of her tree in a color. Everything else was blue, and then we did this clear and white boa down the center, which I just realized is the thing that we're seeing now. I forgot that I had done that. But guys, the trend that was, well, it was a little outrageous. I have never seen so much color. So many of these showrooms had these trees that were decorated so bright. The colors are just intense, and they are almost neon in some ways. Here's another very colorful tree. Every single showroom, we just saw tons and tons of color, 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 color. If someone asked me, what's the one word that you would use to describe market 2025, it would be bold color. Let's talk about what the trends are for 2025 that I saw at market, but I'm going to break it up by category. These are specific categories where trends were used in unusual ways. It's not an all house or an all tree trend. It's the trends with balls and ornaments. It's the trends with ribbons. It's the trends with trees. Let's take a look at what I found. I'm going to point out the ones that were trending this year, what I was seeing in the showrooms as being a big thing, and that is the velvet ribbon. Now, we've seen velvet ribbon for years, but it was highly used this year, and I think it goes with the fact that they brought in these satin, kind of a matte satin ball and the felt balls. Now look on this tree, they've mixed the blue ribbon with the gold edging with kind of a persimmon, I would call it. It's not really red and it's not burgundy, it's a persimmon color, and it doesn't have the gold edging, and that's what gives it less of a glammy look and more of a high-end luxury look. Another look that I saw this year that was really interesting is, and we've seen this before, but I saw a lot of it, and that is the ribbons that have sayings. They say Merry Christmas. I love this one. Dear Santa, I can explain. I also saw a lot of plaid this year. You're gonna see plaid in my home. I'm gonna use it in my family room. But plaids come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, feels. This year I saw plaid that incorporated black, which I loved and which is what I'm gonna use in my family room. Let's finish off with some of the garlands. Now, garlands aren't ribbon, but they're kind of used in your tree and your decorations in the same way. So I just pointed out here some of the garlands I saw with beads. This is the rhinestone garland. Can you see around the bow? That's kind of a big bow. You can see the garland here is a beautiful rhinestone garland, and they've gotten so good at making these over the years where these just, the way they hang, they are able to drape and swag from side to side within a tree, and I think that is absolutely beautiful. Figurines. What are the top trending figurines this year? One of the questions I would have is, are reindeer still popular? Let's take a look at my house. You guys remember the year I had the theme, oh dear, Christmas is here. Here are some reindeer I found that were different. Look at this reindeer. Is that the cutest thing ever? It's like just got its hands on its underneath of its chin and it's thinking. Now here is the black reindeer kind of rubbed inside of it with the metallic, but great for that elegant, quiet, elegant look. All right, here you go. There were reindeer that were butlers. This is a butler reindeer. Is that adorable? I'm not kidding you. This thing has to be like 8, 9, maybe even 10 feet tall with these antlers that go all the way up. So yeah, reindeers are definitely trending. So much so that in this showroom, they had reindeer that were dressed as people. Look at this woman, reindeer. She has a dress on, but she has a reindeer's head. So I tell you what, the designers who come up with the new things each year are getting more and more clever all the time. This year, angels are definitely trending. This is a beautiful angel that actually hangs from the ceiling. And just a spoiler alert, you will see her floating from my ceiling around my tree this year. I loved this kind of vintage looking metal, mixed metals look for an angel, as well as these. This looks like something you'd find in a flea market. And I thought these, several manufacturers had these angels, and this is definitely going to be a big look. And then I cannot not tell you about my acrylic angel. Did I see her at market? Absolutely not. I say that because this is an angel I bought, I think 18 years ago, and I have used her every year in one form or another in my home because she's clear. She matches every single design style or trend that you could possibly go with. So Amber Marie and Company went to the company who originally made these. They got a full container, and so far from what I hear, we've sold over 300 of them, and I think we've got about 50 left. If you're interested, you should definitely go to the Amber Marie and Company website. Just so you know, this angel right now, in the way I have her set up, is 28 inches tall. And when I change the wings around, she is 34 inches tall. She is breathtaking. One of the things that I thought was really cool this year, using bells. Look at this display and collection of bells. They're very vintage, old looking, but even the combination of colors and textures and finishes was amazing. Now this is a little more, I don't know, this looks more like Easter to me, but more that look of a combination of metals. I even saw bells on picks. So these are now the jingle bells. Everything from jingle bells in brass used in garlands, which are just beautiful. It's a great like crescendo point. Then I was like, what? These jingle bells hanging from the ceiling were ginormous. And yeah, super cute, but hello, I found the world's largest brass jingle bell, and I had to pose next to it so you could see in proportion to my height just how big that thing is. It is huge. I've seen crowns before, but this year they seem to kind of be showing up more and more in different finishes. I think that kind of that regal look is going to be big this year, and you can find them in all different finishes and sizes, even this little tiny one that you would hang. I think I'd put that on my dog. It was so cute. Also, I gotta say, Nutcrackers were on the move this year. I saw more Nutcrackers than I've seen at any other market. They are coming on strong as a trend. They did some whimsical things this year. Remember last year, I used Nutcrackers, more modern version of Nutcrackers in my living room on either side as you enter my music room. I thought these Nutcrackers were fabulous. Here's another thing, stars in different finishes. I love this star. I bought this star and it will be part of my tree topper in my sunroom this year. Can't wait for you to see it. It's actually quite large. And then here are some stars that are red berries. That's fun. Sleighs. We've seen sleighs before at Christmas, but what makes these sleighs special? They were used in such amazing ways. This one at the base of the tree is actually spilling over the tree. Look at all those berries. Do you see that? And floating, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm not leading you astray here. This one that can kind of actually float from the ceiling if you want to. A red sleigh here that has a more modern look to it, more modern line to it. And look, it is paired with plaid, which we have discussed. Here's another sleigh that is just part of a display at the base of a tree. Sleighs are big, they're trending, and I absolutely love this one. So you couldn't do like a 9-foot tree in it, but it's probably a 5-foot tree and it's slim, and they used it as the base for that tree. Are you looking to buy a new tree this year? Are you wondering if you should go with a green tree or a flock tree? It's a big question because it depends on what you're doing, but if you're gonna look at the trends, let's see what's out this year. I found more green versus flocked trees, and I'm actually gonna use a green tree this year. I think this one here is beautiful, and what you'll see that's different about it is that these arms extend. We saw more of them than we have in the past. And what that does is it gives you opportunities for the floating ornaments. Just remember, your tree is your base, and that's what you start with. It's what you put on it that really matters. The reason I like the pokey tree so much is because I know that all of my beautiful ornaments and the things I've collected and things I'm gonna put on that tree are gonna show. The second thing I saw was colored trees. Just about every color you could think of was available at market this year. Can you imagine having these strong, vivid colors? Yeah, definitely for the purple lover. But it was a thing, colored trees. Another look that I saw at market was metallic trees. I absolutely fell in love with this. It's brass and it's made of leaves, nothing but leaves for this tree, and it comes in all different sizes. I'm actually gonna have one in my house this year, so you're gonna get to see it. this tree here with nothing but silver balls. The entire tree is balls.
DIY project, here we come. When it comes to trends this year, you're gonna see a lot of these white, and then here's the silver. So you're gonna see almost that tinsel look.
I know that tinsel has been coming in recent years. I actually used it a couple years ago when I did the forest look. I had 3 trees in my sunroom. Well, this year we saw tinseled trees. That's a commitment to go with something like that. But for some people, they would really, really love that. If you're into the glam look, tinsel could be for you. Here's what I would consider a party tree. In fact, the entire display was a party display. But yeah, everything was tinsel, silver tinsel with gold everywhere. What about ornaments? What goes on the tree? Well, there's a new trend in the balls this year that I think is pretty special. I'm going to show you what stood out to me as a trend that's coming for 2025, and I like it. A big look that I saw this year that I suppose has been around, but it was really more prevalent, and that's the use of the felt balls. And sometimes they take the felt look like this, making it into a Santa's belt, super cute, but just a lot of solid colors in the felt look, which gives a really subtle look to your tree. And I found that these balls kind of came in a lot of colors. Along the same lines as the felt or velvet balls were these matte frosted look in the balls. And I thought that the way that they combined them with the otherwise shiny looking balls was really a nice effect. What I love about those frosted balls and even the felt or velvet balls is you could just do that one thing this year and freshen up your look completely. If everything you have is shiny and glistening and bright, then adding some of these softer, more muted, flat toned balls, it doesn't take you into an organic look, it takes you into a classy look. All right, here's a look with the ornaments and balls this year that I thought was really different. It is indeed something I've never seen before, and I just had to capture it for you guys. I see this kind of a tree adding a more modern look of all the same balls. Now, notice on the silver tree, they vary the sizes of them. Not so much on the pine cone tree. Yeah, I think the pine cone tree has various sizes as well, but it's just really well done and very, very memorable. What kind of florals, picks, and sprays are trending? Just a little question. How many of you have ever seen me do florals on my tree? You'd probably have to go back pretty far to find an artificial poinsettia, which is about all we used to ever have, to find one on my tree. I just have never found them classy, but this year, they're trending. These are called natural touch or real touch. And they, honestly, I promise you, this one actually looks like some of the leaves are dying. That's how real they look. So I'm gonna salt and pepper those through my tree. I thought this flower, this artificial flower, was absolutely gorgeous. I don't even know what it is. Is it a dahlia? I don't know. You can see here some magnolias that are in this tree, and then all the whites. Look how big those balls are going up. And you'll see that they've mixed the different kinds of flowers that they're doing, but all within the same color scheme. So that was definitely a big look that I saw. As for picks and sprays, I was very, very happy to see some really beautiful greens. This is the one that I purchased to put on my staircase and on my fireplace. You'll see this, it's an iced garland. Even this wreath, without anything on it, it's got a very natural look. But the greens this year I thought were just so well done. But what you'll notice here is this is mixed with that Norfolk pine looking garland. And for those of you who've been investing in the Norfolk pine greenery in the last few years, because it's been super popular, it is still being shown at markets, so don't worry, you are not out of style, it's still trending. This festoon, I think, is gorgeous. This thing is, if I laid it on its side, it's as tall as I am. It's 5 feet. That is a large festoon. All right, this year, okay, I am so happy about this. Berries were abundant. Now, in the past, I have often said it's hard to find good berries. They just always look so fake. Maybe it's because for years I was buying them from Hobby Lobby. You know, now I can get my berries through Market and through Amber Marie and Company. And I just felt like, you know, when I said that old money or luxury look, elegance, this wreath and garland on a fireplace is what I would call well done, classy, and kind of old money. This tree, if you look close, you will find berries on every layer and level. And look at this wreath that goes with it. It is abundantly adorned with berries. So expect to see a lot of berries this year. The trend of candles. I mean, it is a trend. It is a whole thing. We've all used candles in our homes, whether it's Wolford candles or pillar candles or whatever. And now lately, of course, all of the battery operated, which I love. But there are some really cool ways that you can use them in your decorating this year that are different, that I haven't seen before, that I think you're gonna love. Let's take a look. These are tapered candles. The candles are falling over. You can see right here at the bottom of this photo, there's the clip, but to get it to sit straight on a tree is tough. Now look at these candles. They're beautiful, but they're clip-ons and they are falling over. So it's something to think about if you're gonna use, do you see that? I mean, that would be kind of annoying, don't you think? Here's something I saw that I have never seen before, and this was so clever. They actually used a candelabra as the tree topper. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And again, these are tapered candles and they are battery powered. This is the tree I showed you earlier where they had hung those candles from the ceiling around the tree, not at the top, but the ones around the tree are hung on the wire and they're not sitting. I thought that was such a brilliant idea. How smart. Why didn't everybody hang their candles from the wick, right? So that they hang straight. Leave me a comment below. Could you live in a house with candles on a tree that are going like this? I couldn't. It would drive me insane. Here was an idea I saw in several trees this year where the designer had actually somehow attached a tray. I guess I should have looked inside the tree to see how they did that, but the tray is sitting inside the tree with things on top of it. Trending this year with candles were lanterns. Now, I love lanterns. You've probably seen lanterns in my home where I have used lanterns with battery operated candles. What I thought was interesting about these are very slim lanterns. And because they have the rings on top, you know, they can be hung from the ceiling and be part of the tree. And I thought this more modern, clean line of black was also nice. You'll notice they put little tree candles in there, which is also possible, but that would look good with the taper candles as well. And then some very French, vintage looking lanterns. You're gonna see these this year in my home. I'm using them in my living room on my coffee table. What's trending with lights this year? You know what I'm talking about, like the little mini lights, the little LED lights. What kind of lights are we seeing? We've seen curtain lights in the past. We've seen cluster lights. There's all kinds of lights. You know what was the most popular lights last year? And Amber Marie not only sold out of them, they couldn't get enough. So they ordered a ton. So if you haven't gotten them yet or you want more of what you got last year, be sure to go to the Amber Marie website soon. The diamond lights. All right, they're not actually called diamond lights, but that's what I call them because diamonds, they glitter, and so do these lights. These are what I used last year. It was the first year that I'd ever seen them on the market. I call them diamond lights. They are a string of lights that comes from a single source in the middle, and it goes out in 8 different pieces, but they're little tiny, tiny lights that randomly throb or twinkle. And to me, they look like diamonds. So I use them in my ceiling. This year, I'm gonna be using the branch lights. Each one of these branches has lights on it, and I'm gonna be incorporating that into my sky in my sunroom this year. I also saw a lot of the tightly wound look of garlands that had the lights in them, and I think this is just stunning. These birch trees, now I've had birch trees in the past that look amazing. What was different about these is they're so airy and lacy, and they just come off so soft and ethereal. Overall, the thing that I found different when it comes to lights this year was objects that were lit and meant to be hung, I'm assuming, from the ceiling or from your tree. These would look amazing outdoors and indoors. I also found these. This is a new look. It looks like a dandelion to me when it comes to things that you can hang from your tree, from your ceiling. It can be a tree topper look, and it can also be used outdoors from your trees. This was something that I thought was spectacular. In fact, my friend Sarah actually bought one of these trees. Not quite this size. I think this is probably, I don't know, 20 feet or whatever. I think she got like a 9-foot. Actually, I think she bought two or three. She didn't buy just one. It was a big deal. It was like her biggest purchase at Olive Market. I don't even know if her husband knows yet. I hope he's not watching. If at Christmas time, Jay, you look out the window and you see these beautiful Christmas trees in your yard, I'm sure they were brought by Santa. The whole reason of this video for 2025, Christmas 2025 trends, and what you see on just about every other trends video, is what are the trending themes. Aha, we finally got to it, and it's at the end of the video. Yes, trending themes for 2025. And these are what I call special interest themes. This one I really like, and you're gonna see this look in my home, in my family room. It's kind of a lake cabin look, but it brings the plaid in this year and the velvet ribbon. It actually brings in some of the black as well. There are black pine cones, black leather. I think it's great. There's also a gardening theme. This is fun. This brings in the mushrooms. Okay, I don't understand how mushrooms became a thing for Christmas, but apparently they are. You'll also see a berry tree. This tree has the holly in it, and holly's very big. It goes perfectly with the berry concept. And it also brings in the velvet ribbon. Now this ribbon right here, the frayed edge ribbon that does not have wire in the edges. I saw this last year and I liked it a lot. I thought it just went really well with a Scandi look or an organic look, and that's why they used it here. What was surprising to me is that I didn't see a lot more of this. If you're into your animals, your dogs, your puppies, guess what? You can do a dog-themed tree. These special interest type themes were really kind of fun to see that are put on the tree. There's a wolf ornament, little dogs, felt holly and berries, and it would be fun to have. There's even a fire hydrant, for goodness sake. Super fun if you're into a special interest dog theme, and that's cute to put the little Santa hat on kind of crooked like, oof. This is kind of a African safari theme, and I thought this was very interesting. Look, a small globe is put in there. There are balls that look like cheetah print and ribbons that are animal print. I think this sort of looks like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think that would be a fun tree. Or if you happen to be a world traveler and have picked up things, maybe you've been to Paris and Italy, you could do a smaller tree with those things all in one, and that would be super fun. This is my favorite look. I call it old money. This is actually a wreath I showed you earlier, but these are things where I think you would see this kind of a tree in the 1800s or something as kind of a traditional looking tree, but it's just quiet luxury. It's well done. The colors aren't so bright and loud. It's actually very beautiful. Here we take those same colors and we just go deeper. I mean, this is almost a spruce green. It's got teal in it. Large bows, large balls all the way up, and adding gold to it. It has a less loud in your face look to it, but it's still well done and it's really quite beautiful. Take a look at that urn, and then just some greens in there and some berries added to it with some magnolia leaves, surrounded by both gold and silver of the metallics. And then this is just a mixture of all the metallics. Honestly, that's my taste all the way. I think that's beautiful. I bring you back to the tree I've shown you a number of times. To me, this looks like old money. This is done with style, taste, and class. It's not overdone. And let me tell you something, guys. Finding a tree at market that's not overdone is not easy. because most of them, in my opinion, they overdo it with the decorations. Since pink is so big this year, what's really popular are the sweet treats or candy themes. Not my cup of tea, but it's definitely what some people absolutely love. Here's a peppermint tree, and not just a tree. I'm telling you, peppermint everything. You can pull your trend or your theme together by adding these specific elements. You can have a tree made of candy canes. You can have snowmen, Santa Claus, and Nutcrackers. Everything available if you're wanting to go with candy. And even gingerbread houses. They're just everything you can think of within that sweet treat combination. And in that sweet treat theme idea, the concept, here's using the pinks and what they used to call pastels, but now they've bumped up the color, and making an entire tree with the gingerbread theme. In fact, there is a gingerbread intro to the showroom using the gingerbread, and it has the red in it as well. One of the themes that I absolutely love and was toying with perhaps doing, and that is this kind of retro, nostalgic kind of tree. It kind of reminds me of what, the 50s, where the ornaments were hand blown, or they were all glass for sure. But even the garlands were glass garlands, and I thought that this kind of a tree would be fun and colorful. See, this is colorful in a way that I think is still classy. A lot of the trends I've already explained to you. I'm hoping that you're seeing them within the different themes. The last two things I want to talk to you about, really quick subjects, but I think they're worth mentioning. One is gimmicks and the trend of new ideas. Just a few things I picked up along the way. This is kind of fun. It's not new, but it's a great gimmick. It's where you can buy a turntable and put your nutcracker, or maybe a deer if it was a bigger base. Maybe you could put a plate on it. Of course, my favorite gimmick is to use spinners on your tree. And if you're going to do that, the best balls ever are the disco balls. And yes, for those of you who want to know, I will be using spinners on my tree this year. This is not new, but I thought it was very fun. It's the idea of having the snow globe that plugs in, and you've got a fun little scene. It's just fun for the children, and it always looks great. It's very retro, looks like an old television. A fun gimmick, I think. This was something I haven't seen before, where there are lollipops. They look like they are floating, but they're actually hanging from the ceiling. And this was interesting. I've seen inverted Christmas trees before, but I thought this one was very well done. But they also brought it down to a table height, almost a garland that fell from that table height down to the floor. And then here's the opposite. It's a tree that's upright, like it should be, cone shaped, but it's on a disc in the ceiling that rotates the tree round and round. And if you get it to the right height and you decorate it right, you can have things that are almost touching the ground. It's really quite stunning, and I think it's beautiful in these pastel colors. This is just the weirdest thing I ever saw. I've shown you the Real Touch flowers, and flowers are big this year, but look at these, you guys. They actually move. They're animated flowers. I just had to throw that in. How about this one? You ever seen a candle that's also a fountain? Yeah, it's a water feature. I'd never seen that before. So those are the end of my very simple gimmicks that I found this year at market. And here's just a couple of things. Maybe they're new to you, maybe they're not, but they were ideas that I went, oh, that's a good idea. Let's take a look. So here's a new idea, at least to me. Now I'm sure this has been done many times. Some of you have probably done it. Take a look at this. This is a small tree, but look, it's the very airy pokey tree, which I've already told you is trending this year. But I thought this was very clever to lay birch logs at the base almost as a tree skirt. I thought that looked really natural and great. And I want to just give one last nod to these balls. They look silver, but they're almost a mercury ball. I loved the idea of having a tree that's nothing but one particular ball, whether it be pine cones or it be the mercury balls. And then there's a tree to the right you can barely see. It's all clear. So it was a really clever look. Definitely a new idea, at least to me. Here's something I thought was really interesting. I saw this opening to one of the showrooms. You know, a lot of times we swag our garlands like this, don't we? Well, I noticed something different. Here in the center, they pulled it out about 12 inches. So the center is, the depth of it is toward you, and then as it swags, it goes back closer to the wall. I thought that was an interesting new idea that I had not seen before. So trends are there for a reason and for a certain market, but I don't think you have to follow them. I think whatever you do, do it in good taste and do it well. And then you will always be in style. You will set your own trends. I hope that this Trends 2025 video has been helpful for you. Did you write some things down? Did you learn some things? Are there things you can incorporate in your house? Keep an eye out as we continue to launch brand new Christmas decorating videos that will help you in your own home. All right, you guys, I love you. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.